So this week what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into a video all about sieges. Now I'm not going to get into node sieges, that'll be a separate video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the most important part of castle sieges. Now castle sieges have so much going on, it is absolutely ridiculous. It's quite crazy the content that's going to be there. So I'm going to try and give you the most vital or important information that we have and kind of cover as much as I can within 10 to 13 minutes in the video and let you know all about them. It's something I'm super interested in. But without rambling on anymore, I'll jump right into the video now. So what are castle sieges for anyone who doesn't know already? Well, castle sieges are PvP events that happen once a month during your server's primetime window in Ashes of Creation. The aim is to capture one of the 5 guild castles that are spread throughout the world of Fedder. So they're currently planned to be 250 vs 250 players, however the goal is to make them about 500 vs 500. The guild that captures the castle will have 1 month before it can be sieged again. And kind of dip back into castles before anyone owns them and when the server starts, because I know I'm going to get a comment about that. So you've got to bear in mind castles won't initially need to be sieged upon server launch as no one owns them. Instead, players are going to need to fight NPCs and raid bosses at the centre of the castle. If they have multiple guilds going for it, the guild that does the most damage to the raid boss will capture that castle. So yeah, you will get some guilds that are super organised, go for world first and try and get one of these castles, lock it down, but bear in mind when that 30-day mark hits, they have to be ready to defend and be organised or they can easily lose it. So just it's totally up to you. I mean, you could rush try and get it, or you can maybe wait it out, see how the systems play, watch some videos and then go get that, attack it and then defend it and kind of run it from that angle. I mean, these castles will be consistently switching hands and guilds throughout the time on your server. So how do castle sieges actually work? Well, for the first 3 weeks, the guild that owns the castle, they'll have to build up the 3 nodes that are connected to the castle to the village stage. Now I'm not going to jump into the castle nodes specifically on this video, but if you do want one that goes more in depth on castle specific nodes, let me know and I will crack on and get that done for you. But it is planned that at the end of the 3 weeks, each of these nodes will have a siege against it, and the 4th week is where other guilds can choose whether to declare to siege the castle or choose to defend it. If a guild is choosing to siege a castle, they must complete the siege scroll creation quest. Once the quest is complete, it is possible to lay down the siege declaration. And when it comes to it, the first guild to lay down its siege scroll will be the guild that can have its members sign up to attack. Laying the siege scroll down is not as easy as it sounds though. It has to be a 5-minute routed cast that must be done by the guild leader within a ring that surrounds the castle. How close you have to be to perform that depends on the quality of the siege scroll. So like many things in Ashes, there's different tiers, different BPs, so you potentially want the best siege scroll so you can get further away. If you're further away, you potentially have the advantage to be more defended, take up a better position. If you have the more peasant version, you might have to go dead center or really be not in the most defensible position. So this is something you'll probably want to pour some resources in to give you that extra advantage or the chance of winning that siege. Also, when it comes to defending, obviously a lot of guilds can apply to defend, but they don't automatically get put on it. So the guy who is the guild leader of the castle, who owns the castle, they can then choose who they want to defend them, because obviously a lot of people will just need numbers. Some folk might stupidly just say just tech them for defense, and then these guys are defending might just go snaky and deliberately or intentionally make you fail that defense because they want you to lose that castle. And this is going to happen a lot. There's going to be a lot of Game of Thrones bullshit involved, so it's good that you can pick and choose who's defending and you can weigh that situation up. Not only that, if you are the guild leader who's declared in this siege and you get killed, the cast will be interrupted. Then following a declaration, the guild that owns the castle has a week in which they can prepare for the siege by approving guilds to defend, hiding NPCs and setting up defensible positions. And to be honest, if you're going to play at this competitive level and really endgame PvP, that's more than enough time for you to get your shit together. And if you can't get your shit together in a week, well, you probably shouldn't be owning the castle in the first place. There's just so many cool aspects to sieges, and I suppose just Ashes of Creation in general, but castle owners will be able to purchase and allocate defensible mechanisms to bolster siege defenses. These could include stronger walls or gates, traps, siege equipment, siege NPCs, and even mercenary NPCs. It is pretty fucking awesome to think about, and I just can't wait to get in the game and actually test this shit out, man. So when the siege begins, the game will create temporary alliances for attacking and defending teams. Attackers will have to capture waypoints within the castle, which will shorten the respawn timer and will increase the respawn timer of the defenders. So it's a very tactical thing thing there, and I think it's going to be super useful and definitely something you need to go at. Defenders, while defending, can also go and attack the siege headquarters of the attackers, which will increase their respawn timer. And not just that, you know, it comes back to twos, I suppose. Again, there's going to be legendary NPCs present. They will be similar to mini raid bosses within both attack and defending armies. Killing these legendary NPCs will give the team drops, will grant battlefield benefits. The objective for the defenders is to survive the full 90 minutes the siege lasts while keeping the attackers away from the inner keep of the castle. Like, that's fucking insane. So you've got mini legendary soldiers or bosses, and you've got a 90-minute intense as fuck super competitive siege. Like, the guys doing this and fighting for this will be fucking going hardcore, and I just can't wait to see these play out and how intense they are. It's really going to be cool. So when it comes to the objective, the attacker's objective is to reach the inner keep of the castle, where the guild leader or delegated officer must cast a 3 to 5 minute cast to secure ownership of the castle. The casting time can be reduced by capturing waypoints during the siege, so as well as fighting with these legendary NPCs and tactical strategies and just PvP in general, you're gonna want to capture these waypoints to give you a better advantage, or maybe a better chance of just overall winning the siege and capturing this castle. Now, this is something I won't dip into it, but I have seen people dip into more, but that's why I'm going to link a video above. You should be careful, because when you're attacking these, the people you take in and you trust as allies, any of them guild leaders of that alliance can actually secure ownership of the castle themselves. So say you go in as an alliance and one guild specifically says, well, we're actually going to do it for this guild. If one of them decides, well, nah, fuck this, we're just going to jump in at the end and take it, that can happen. And that's where I'll link a video to the political side of stuff, you know, kind of for anyone who's never been involved in these aspects of competitive PvP or snakiness or Game of Thrones bullshit, to kind of look at and watch. And I would definitely look at that if you don't know too much of how things like EVE or ARK or these other super competitive PvP political games work. Now, that being said, for the most part, you're going in with a strong alliance, and the majority of people playing at this endgame won't be pulling snaky shit too much like that, because alliances are hard to come by when they're good, and why break them for some bullshit like this? There's always going to be enemies in the games like this, a lot of enemies, so friends are going to be hard to come by, and you want to try and keep them if they're good quality friends or good quality alliances. But getting back onto the video now, if a guild captures the castle, rubble will be visible for some time. This will stay until the guild owning the castle develops the first defensive node. When the castle changes ownership, the taxes will be split between the guild that owned it previously and the castle itself, and I like the way things will be changing, and you'll see destruction and you'll see growth, and it really adds to that ever-changing dynamic world that on about. Like, every aspect of Ashes has that, and this is no different, and it's really nice to see them doing it this way. The one thing I'll add there is these are rewards straight away. Obviously the castle and reputation itself is enough, but you're going to get some of that gold, you're going to get some of the stuff that's already been earned, so it kind of gives you a kickstart to start working on the castle. And if you've lost that castle, it's a bittersweet moment. Like, you're a bit gutted, your reputation's down, you're feeling a bit shitty, but at least you get some of the gold back and some of the resources back, so I think that's fairly decent. Some folk will be like, mate, that's fucking bullshit, you've just lost the castle, but I suppose it's like, while you're down, we're not going to kick you again. Like, they're trying to kind of balance it out, and with Ashes and the way everything works, it is pretty hardcore in some aspects, so I feel like it's constantly a balancing game for Intrepid, and yeah, I take my hat off to them. They're doing the best job they can, and fucking hell, the game isn't even out, but we will see a lot of this change during Alpha 2 for sure. To add in some notes as well, or bits and bobs, like snippets of information, stuff like siege weapons, you're going to need to craft them, or they're going to need to be bought from an NPC, so even things like this brings in that crafting element outside of the sieges, and these things, as well as farm and other things, will contribute to replayability, which I really love about Ashes, and it really keeps people wanting to play and giving them stuff to do. Siege equipment will require materials and recipes and craftsmanship, which is just fucking awesome, and you'll be able to repair walls and gates and repair or recraft siege weapons that were damaged previously. This wasn't in place for Alpha 1, but it is planned for launch, and obviously people say Alpha 1 and talk about it like it was a game test, but it wasn't a content and game test. It was just kind of checking the servers and back-end testing. It wasn't like a full content drop. So if you are watching that and you've seen that footage, Alpha 2 is going to be vastly different, and it is going to have a lot more content, and it will be persistent. It'll just be on another level. And another good thing is, I have seen people say about, oh, we're going to get death penalties and that. Well, no, sieges don't use the flagging system, therefore death penalties the player would normally receive, you're not going to get, which is kind of like, would take away the element of fun, and it's the same with like caravans and stuff. You don't want want that death penalty. And in sieges, come on man, why would you want to be in a massive siege and worry about death penalty? I mean, there's more shit to be worrying about, like your reputation, losing a castle or a potential node. So death penalties is definitely not a thing Intrepid would want to put in there, and I'm glad they haven't, because I think it would just be stupid. And if you're looking to smite NPCs or just be a bit trolley and kind of kill everything, you don't just have to kill players. You know, you can kill siege NPCs, which will allow attackers to gain advantages during the siege. You can only kill them during the siege, and if you aren't successful at sieging, they will respawn after the siege is finished. These NPCs are intended to be useful during sieges, however they're not meant to be a main line of defense, so don't think you can max out and fully focus on NPCs and have limited numbers or lacking players with certain skills and get through it. Like, they are just that extra added help that need players support at the same time. But I do like that, and I think the dynamics there could be pretty cool. We need to see how it plays out in Alpha 2, but I am looking forward to it. So to jump into more NPC stuff, Merc NPCs can be hired for castle sieges. There will be different tiers, with the highest tier being referred to as heroes, so like really decent, strong guys that you're going to want to get in there. The tier will be based on how much the governing castles has allocated for them and how successful they are at defending the castle nodes during the first 3 weeks of the siege cycle, and it may change based on testing. Obviously everything in the game is based on testing and can always change, and you just got to bear that in mind. You could watch this video now and a year into testing it could be a totally different thing. And during a castle siege, the guild leader of the guild that owns the castle can give the guild officers the ability to use flying undermounts. These may only be granted if the 3 castle nodes are successfully established, so node A grants 1, then node B will grant 2, and node C grants another 2, meaning 5 guild officers would have the ability to fly while defending the castles. This is also subject to testing, and I do get more into undermounts and mounts on another video that I have, which I'll link above that you can check out. There may be instant locations during a castle siege where specific smaller groups can participate in objective based waypoints as well, which is fairly cool. And the one good thing I'll say about what Intrepid are doing here, you really want to track your members, you really want to know what people are good at. It's all good these people being in your guild and saying, oh, I've done this and I've done this, you didn't see it, I'm good at this, I'm great at this. Well, with the ladder that Intrepid's got in, guild members can be ranked and be checked and logged on how they performed during competitive activities such as castle sieges, so you'll be able to see kind of where your guild members are at and who's best at what, and then you correlate that with all the other information you can get within game. You can really set up a strong guild, and there's a lot of information feedback there, and that's how you really build a long-term and decent competitive guild with this information. I suppose this is more on the hardcore side, but for sure for us, like, I want to know what the guild members are good at and who's good at other things and who's bad at things. So for me, I really do like castle sieges. They're super complex, and Intrepid really is hitting the ball out in the park on this one. If they can pull this off, that is, or even half of this, it's going to be some crazy content to be had. But what do you guys think? Do you think there's some stuff they've missed? Do you think there's some stuff they should add in? Do you like the direction, or is this way too competitive and you guys won't be getting involved in it? Either way, it's going to be a fun experience for everyone to take part in, but let me know in the comment section what you think about it all. Drop us a like, as it really does help, and feel free to share this video, and I do appreciate the support as always, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.